Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik and this is the game War in the Pacific. Advanced Edition, this is my play-by-email match against Italian. He's a Japanese player and for me it is the allied side. We playing on with the mod Bottleneck. 20th December 41. There was an enemy battleship, cruiser, fleet. And I found them, they found me, I don't know. And these are really battleships and not only misinformed or wrong detected. Mutsu and Nagato are both here, so the top Japanese battleships. At night engagement. Canberra took already a heavy hit in the first moment of the battle, that is not good. I mean, of course, heavy cruisers are not built to engage battleships. So I have 2 heavy cruisers and 2 light cruisers and the French destroyer. This is everything what is close at the east coast of Australia, so early on. Canberra is normally a British heavy cruiser with already radar, so you can fight at night with this kind of ships very good. Normally with Japan, the American ships have of course no radar. And the French destroyer is maybe one of the best, but you have only one of them, so. This was the first engagement. I got 1 hit on Mutsu, and Canberra is already heavily damaged. This is of course a task force I would not engage with cruisers if I know it. But this early on I have 2 shitty navy search to really know what is the enemy. Okay. And Japanese submarine failed to sink here AMC. Enemies retreating. There's a Japanese ship is hitting a mine somewhere. And we have the next night engagement. The Japanese crossing the T, so I can only use forward guns. And I get a hit on a destroyer, but not really creating damage, so more or less a dot. We had 3000 range, this is a short range. A hit on the enemy scout cruiser. And the 8-inch, yeah. So the enemy 8 scout cruiser has no armor protection at all, so it's unprotected like a destroyer. Every shell can penetrate the belt armor, because there is no belt armor. And I get a heavy shell hit also in the enemy destroyer. Hit on Nagato, but not really creating any damage. The next Japanese destroyer is burning. Okay, no short range, now mid range. The next 6-inch shit Italien took also a hit, but maybe not enough to really damage the ship. And both sides are breaking. So heavy fires on the Japanese scout cruiser. The rest is only so little. Canberra still on fire, but no heavy damage or no heavy fire, so it should be possible to get under control. Okay, this was the second night battle. Everyone else is trying to reach the port and running away. Okay. The next mine hit somewhere. Yeah, that cargo ship is lost. And the next cargo ship. So the Japanese submarines are now here at Brisbane. But the enemy task force is still hunting my cruisers. Now it's that the Allies crossing the T, and the Japanese can only use forward guns. And I have the first shells. This is again 3,000 yards, short range. The enemy scout cruiser is getting 2, 3, 4 hits. Engine damage. Ooh. The French are also adding some shells. Belt hit, but no penetration. 2,000 yards. That is now near the standard minimum range, more or less. But critical hit on Canberra. Yeah, these are 16-inch shell hits. Engine damage. And Canberra is going down. Yeah, that is simply, again, too much. 2 or 3 40-centimeter shells are simply creating so much fire damage or flooding damage. Yeah. But it looks like the Japanese scout cruiser is heavily damaged and also burning like hell. This is 5.5 inch, no penetration on Louisville. More penetration hits. And we're breaking away, but not before more hits on the enemy. Oh, my good French destroyer got a hit and torpedo tubes are destroyed. Yes, more hits, more penetration, more engine hits. And hit on a destroyer, always good. And here, the Japanese losing the scout cruiser before there was a chance for the aircraft to reach a friendly port. So normally this kind of ships carrying around 20 aircraft. But here's a lucky torpedo hit on my French destroyer, and even if it's a French destroyer, it will break down. Some 6-inch shells are never enough to penetrate the citadel. And we're breaking. Good. That would be still a clear victory for me because there are only 3 or 4 scout cruisers for the Japanese, and scout cruisers plus all the aircraft on board is a blow. Losing the French destroyer more or less and the Canberra is of course also a blow for my Australian Navy. But yeah, I would say that is a clear victory for me. Now we have here, I think, Perth. Perth was trying to link up with his cruiser formation, but was a little too slow. Yeah, another light cruiser. Not much Perth can do. If maybe create some fire. So no ship is on fire here more. And the enemy battleship find a short range tanker. Okay, these kind of ships are so slow they cannot run away. Some Japanese ships are sinking because of mine hits maybe. And these are my 3 destroyers. These are Clemson class destroyers, I guess. I was fleeing from Manila. I stand them down and was waiting for enemies passing by, and looks like I find here some cargo ships. I was normally only trying to reach Surabaya, but killing here some Japanese cargo ships is always good. And there was a trooper on board. So maybe a Navy Guard unit. So because this was here, I guess this was the invasion here, and I was just passing by. Luckily me. Yeah, some shelling of Changsha and a E-boat. So a Mark 14 working torpedo, but no heavy damage or no fire, so this E-boat should escape. My light cargo ship is not escaping. Harbor defense, motor launcher, and the enemy battleship is still catching up with my retreating French destroyer. The French destroyer is so slow, he slows down the other ships, and this is why the Japanese catching up here at daytime. That is unlucky, because if they split up and let the destroyer left behind, the cruisers could escape. Now the cruisers are in battle with the Nagato Mutsu at daytime. That is, of course, terrible. And the French destroyer was so close to sinking that it was nearly impossible to let him get him back to port. Yeah. If the enemies had now no shells more, then they would break. But looks like there's still some shells left in the Nagato Mutsu batteries. Oh, hit on a destroyer. And the second destroyer hit. So my ships are still fighting back. Deck armor hit, but no penetration. 6-inch shell hit on a destroyer, so most of the Japanese destroyers are now on fire. Yeah, 8-inch shells will not do much here. Not against Mutsu or Nagato. Trying to get distance, you know. All 5-inch shells here, but they're creating fire. Too much fire is not good for system damage. And here is a critical hit because it's a magazine explosion on Louisville. And I guess this is in the end. Yeah. Cruiser is still floating, but it looks like that the ship is very slow now because there are many hits on the cruiser, so it's dead in the water, you could see. The Japanese also want now break. One more inch on Mutsu. Again, no penetration. 21,000. Still in range of torpedoes. And here, that was enough. There was no... Crew could not control flooding and firefighting at the same time of the cruiser. So I lost the second cruiser, and that was really a little unlucky because the destroyer was lost more or less anyway. But it was trying to escort him back to Cooktown. Yeah. Maybe this enemy destroyer will also burn out because heavy fire is for a destroyer hard to manage. Yeah, still I would say I lost now 2 heavy cruisers and a destroyer. That is maybe not a win for me, but also not a terrible loss. Hit, but no explosion. Hit, but no explosion, of course. That was enemy heavy cruiser formation. Yeah, that was a Mark 10 torpedo. No hit. A short range tanker. And there was some enemy dive bomber at New Caledonian. So there must be enemy carrier. Bombardment of Clarkfield. But Clarkfield is rough terrain, wood, so nearly no damage against my troops. Still sweeping over Batavia. Ground strikes, yeah, but that will slow down my movement, but not much more. Strafing. My Malayan troopers are so weak that they cannot even down no more this key 21s, key 27s. Naja, you have this small symbol that it's a dive attack. Yeah. Catalinas, so I sent some Catalinas on Navy Search, Navy Strike. Because I first thought this is an invasion fleet, and yes, there is an invasion fleet and this is a cover fleet before from Nagatomatsu. They are the far cover, and this is more or less now the invasion fleet. I was able to get one bomb hit on the enemy troop transport before they was able to unload. That is good. But this also means there's an invasion fleet coming for Port Moresby, and this is in the second week of the war. Italien is trying to rush here. Afternoon, more bomb hits. This big explosion. Good. I don't have really much more in these early days. These are the Australian Catalina 1s. This is more or less like the American Catalina 4. They cannot carry torpedoes, but 500-pound bombs. Japanese tanks are taking a base in Malaya, and those are the Dutch civilians, so I was able to airlift the support troopers of the fighting force, but there was no capacity for any civilians. Some Royal Thai cavalry guys are entering Burma now. So a turn with a lot of action, and maybe a victory for me because I was able to sink this troop convoy at the Philippines, and the Japanese lost the important scout cruiser, what should be or could be in 43 light carrier. You can rebuild this ship later on if you want. So, air losses are for the Japanese not so good today. The Japanese lost 34 aircraft, so a little over-reported if you deduct 2 aircraft from each wing. So maybe 14 F1s and 14 E1s, plus all the other stuff. I lost also, this is American Navy search and this is Australian Navy search. So Japanese lost this scout cruiser, and you can see it's have only some 5-inch guns, so it's really only a Navy search or scout cruiser platform with no protection at all. 5mm. I mean, this is not much. But I lost Canberra. What is a okay cruiser and 10,000 ton cruiser, so well, with radar, so can fight at night. And Louisville, this typical Northampton class heavy cruiser, not the strongest one, but okay, but no radar. So, but because I had the other cruisers with radar, I choose to let them try to engage at night. And this is the French destroyer. Only this one. This is really the I mean, of course, German destroyers had even bigger guns, but this is a 5.3-inch gun that is really powerful if you can hit. Yeah. Anyway, lost. And some smaller, these are the 3 cargo ships, and there were some other troopers on board. But on top there was also some mine hits, if I can remember correct. That is always a little hard to yeah. A Japanese motor top MTB hit a mine. So this is a motor torpedo boat. So only a anti-submarine. That is not so important. And another one also hit a mine. So maybe they can sweep mines, but no, they don't try and sweep mines. So 2 only short-range torpedo boats destroyed from the Royal Thai Navy. Good, the cruisers will arrive tomorrow port. No additional damage, should be fine if nothing happens tomorrow. Still submarines everywhere, but soon they have no torpedoes left. 2 things at the same time. Here is detection, but only here and here. So it looks like that enemy ships are maybe somewhere here, so they can just detect this ship, but much better here. So carriers are coming, could be also cruisers, but I saw carrier flight airplane detected, so I guess enemy carriers are coming. So these are maybe key to Butai, because the light carriers are at the Dutch East Indies. So Italien was maybe running with full speed here to support his operation in New Caledonian. He also sent the battleships very early on here in the Coral Sea. Again, it was no victory for me, but it was also bloody nose for him. First, his battleships consumed all the ammunition, and 16-inch are very hard to rearm, so he must normally go back to Truk, I would say. I don't think that you can rearm in Rabaul even with an ammunition ship. Not this early. My ships was unloading here, so enemy invasion fleet is at Port Moresby, but they had no time to unload, so I got some hits on the ships before they was able to unload. Okay. But I really have only this kind of aircraft, and yeah. Everything else is on training, because this airfield of levels, you need normally at least level airfield 3 to 1 twin engine bombers. Yeah, and I have nothing here in this range, so I can really only use this little Catalans. And I don't play super high hardcore level because I don't want it. I give Italians my word that I play normal level, so I will not really try everything what is possible. Good. Submarines trying to mess up Japanese ships. A little successful, not over successful. This has 3 destroyers engage this enemy task force. There's some shells left. No torpedoes consumed. Okay. Japanese are coming for Manila. Let them try. Japanese trying to finish off Georgetown first. That is good. This gives me more time for Singapore. Still no activity at Burma. 48,000 tons. Because maybe now the supplies are starting to go into China. Nothing really at China to discuss because there's still nothing really for me to find out. I guess there's a movement maybe on troops in this direction. And there could be an army coming down this road. So maybe the Italian was trying to finish this Wenchao pocket first. And yeah, nothing to discuss at India. Good. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.